I'm looking at a screen right now that in any other country in the world would be a bankruptcy notification. I've just pulled up the final medical statement for my son Blake, and the number staring back at me on the portal is $80,000. Yes, 80,000. But here's the part that will make my British friends think that I've gone completely crazy. I didn't pay $80,000. I paid $4,100. And actually, having seen both systems, the free one and the expensive one, I would pay that $4,000 in a heartbeat. Today I'm breaking down the digital receipt, the $45,000 NICU stay, and why the American system, for all its terrifying costs, gave me something that the NHS just simply couldn't. So let's start with how we got here. My wife Ellie and I moved to America, and 4 months in, she was pregnant. I'm not sure what it was, maybe it's the American air. Clearly the transition to the US was a very fertile one for us. But after that 4-month initial honeymoon phase of living in America, reality set in. We were about to be customers to the American healthcare machine. As a Brit, your relationship with healthcare is very passive. You don't check for coverage, you don't shop for a doctor, you just go to the GP. In America, as soon as you find out your test is positive, you aren't just a patient, you are a high-value paying customer. And that shift in dynamic just changes everything about how you're treated. One of the biggest culture shocks was just the sheer frequency of the care that we received. I'm sure we're all aware the NHS is under incredible financial pressure. Their goal is efficiency. If your pregnancy isn't considered high risk, they basically say we'll see you in a couple of months. Therefore, you'll get a couple of scans, a couple of midwife appointments, and that's about it. They're doing everything to reduce costs, but also ticking the safety box. They want to save money, and rightfully so they do the bare minimum required for safety. In America, it was the absolute opposite. Ellie had appointments every 2 weeks, and then as we got closer to the due date, it was every single week. Initially, the cynical Brit in me thought that this is just a money grab. They're billing the insurance company for every single minute that she sat in the chair. And to be honest, that is probably part of it. But the result of that billing is a level of monitoring that is incredibly reassuring. Our OB and the entire staff were honestly phenomenal. There was a 24-hour helpline that if we ever had any questions or any concerns about the pregnancy, we could call. As we know in the UK, if you call up, you're typically just a number in a queue. It really did feel like in America, we were a genuine priority. Then came the actual birth. So if you've ever given birth in the UK, you know that after the birth, you are put in a ward. You are with 6 to 7 other women and babies. You hear the dad snoring from across the room. You're separated by just a very thin curtain, and there is zero dignity or privacy involved. When Ellie went into labour, the experience was a polar opposite. We had our own private suite, but it wasn't just a room, it was a sanctuary. I had my own bed to stay in, Ellie had her own private bathroom. We could bond with our son in total silence and privacy. Of course, the nurses came in every couple of hours to check, but most of the time it was just us and our little family just getting to know our beautiful little loved one. You start to realise that while free is great, it comes at the cost of comfort and privacy. In America, the hospital isn't just a medical facility, it's a service provider. It at times honestly feels like a hotel. And when you're dealing with the most vulnerable and sometimes stressful moments of your life, the extra level of service feels less like a luxury and more like a necessity. Now, Blake was unfortunately born premature. He was 4 weeks premature, which meant that he had to stay in NICU for a week. But for my Brits, NICU is the neonatal intensive care unit. This is the moment where you start caring a lot less about the service and more about the survival. And again, the US system excelled. Even in NICU, there were no open wards. Blake had his own dedicated space, which was amazing. The technology was top tier, and the ratio of nurses to babies was truly staggering. Going back to the technology, one of the things that really struck me the most was they had 24-hour cameras in NICU where we could just log in online on a portal and keep an eye on our baby. So if we were ever at home just for a few hours, we could look at the camera, look at Blake, make sure he was okay. A real comfort in a time of stress and anxiety when your baby is obviously not very well. The nurses were just nothing short of heroic. They didn't just treat Blake, they treated us and explained everything and really put our mind at rest. Knowing he was in a private, sterile room opposed to a busy ward really meant that we could put all of our focus into him and not be distracted by a busy hospital floor. So again, Great job, NICU nurses. Now let's get to the numbers. I'm looking at the breakdown right now. I'll read you the sticker price first. So this is what the hospital actually billed the insurance company. Blake's 1 week stay in the NICU, the line item here says $45,000. Ellie's prenatal care, the delivery and her 2-night stay, $35,000. Total build, $80,000. Now, if you're a Brit watching this, you're probably thinking to yourself, this is why America's broken, because who has $80,000 just lying around? But here is how the subscription model of America works. We pay $450 a month, which is a high price to pay. It's what, $5,000 a year, but it gives you that comfort so that when a huge bill like this comes, you're not footing all of it. Our plan has an out-of-pocket maximum. I'm just looking at the portal right now. It is a legal cap. That cap for us is $2,050 per person. So when the $35,000 bill for Ellie arrived, she paid $2,050. When the $45,000 bill for Blake arrived, we paid another $2,050. Therefore, our total out-of-pocket cost was $4,100. So is the American system fair? Probably not. If you don't have a good insurance, it can be a truly terrifying place to get sick or give birth. The NHS is a triumph because it protects everyone regardless of paycheck or insurance. It doesn't care. But as an individual, looking at my wife and looking at my son, I would much rather have paid the money I have for the level of care I received. The privacy and the 24/7 access for care that we received truly saved us just from so much anxiety. In the UK, you're a patient of the state. In America, you're a client of the hospital. And when it comes to the safety of my family, I've decided I'm okay with being a customer. Because for $4,000, we didn't just get a baby, we got peace of mind. Let me know in the comments, would you pay for the upgrade or is the free system still king? Interested to know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.